Be a part of history and subscribe to my 2 YouTube channels and join the 100,000 pharaohs that exist. And of course, follow me on Twitch as I create a radio station from the ground up. They ain't never seen a young black reporter coming like this. All right, Mr. Telepharaoh TV, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to talk about videos like this. This video won't be my most viewed. I say this from time to time, but I just want y'all to know who I am as a person. Yo, these videos matter to me much more than who's beefing with who's gonna diss who. Yo, this is why I created my platform, to slowly transition from the BS, even though I talk about it in ways I feel other people don't, and talk about some important issues. I check out most interviews that come out, and this interview, which was Jay-Z with Van Jones, so everybody's around, and you know, he's got the Rock Nation brunch with all the celebs, him and Diddy doing the Black Excellence thing, and you know, the Grammys are tonight, and Jay-Z stopped through and did an interview with Van Jones, and they talked about a lot of things, including his wife Beyonce cheating, acknowledging the cheat, the hurt. But for the bulk of the conversation, it was about Donald Trump and his presidency, and I thought it was a very powerful conversation that took place. And I want to put this in perspective. Eminem has been dissing Donald Trump for months now, trying to garnish a response. Jay-Z does one interview, and in less than 10 hours, Donald Trump gives Jay-Z a response. Donald Trump didn't take Eminem serious, right? But as soon as Jay said something, he know that those comments, they meant something to people. They were real, right? And it struck him the wrong way. And Donald Trump gave Jay-Z a response. We'll get to that in a second. So pretty much Van Jones and Jay-Z got into this conversation about, yo, you know, what do you think about Trump's presidency? If he ever invited you to the White House, would you come? And I like the way Jay-Z put it. He was talking about pretty much Donald Trump and the shithole comments about African countries. And Jay-Z was like, you know what? I'm going to compare Donald Trump to another Donald Sterling. For those who don't remember who Donald Sterling is, he was the former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. He had to sell his team because comments of a phone call surfaced where he was very racist towards his NBA basketball team, the Los Angeles Clippers. And he was talking about, you know, why do we got to treat them like equal? And why does Magic want seats on the court? They're still black. They're still, you know what I mean? Just going off it. Just a racist guy. And the NBA was like, yo, we got to get rid of this. You can't have a white owner thinking he's literally owned, like in slavery terms, a team that's pretty much all black. The NBA is what, 85, 90% black? We can't allow this to happen. So they got rid of Donald Sterling, and they allowed Ballmer to come in and buy that team. Donald Sterling still make a crap ton of money. So Jay-Z compared Donald Trump to Donald Sterling. He said something of the lines. He said you pretty much have sprayed perfume on the trash can, meaning instead of letting Donald Sterling keep his basketball team and use it as a moment to teach. I don't know if I agree with that, but Jay was like, you know, instead of letting Donald Sterling keep his basketball team and using this as a moment to teach, you get rid of him, and the problem is still there. This is what people are saying behind closed doors. So he was like, look, what do you do when the bugs come? You spray something on it and you create a superbug because you don't take care of the problem. You're not taking the trash out. You just keep spraying whatever over to make it acceptable. As those things grow, you create a superbug. And then now we have Donald Trump, the superbug. So what he's saying is, look, when you don't address an issue and you allow it to just keep festering over time, and maybe it's like a quick fix. You know what I mean? I come from, you know where I come from. When I got a flat tire, I'm not trying to go to a tire shop and pay $100 for a new tire. I'm gonna fix a flat over and over again. But what I didn't realize is what I was doing when I was fixing flat is making the problem worse. And then by the time your tire just blows out completely, when the fix a flat can no longer do, you put yourself in a position that if you have a blowout, you might lose your entire car in an accident or something like that. That's what he's saying about Donald Trump via the Donald Sterling comparison. You know, we had an opportunity to use Donald Sterling as a teachable moment, and maybe let him keep his team and see, yo, you're the idiot. You thought this was cool, and talk about it a little more before we get rid of him. But we just kind of bandaged that issue by just getting rid of him and acting like he's one of one, right? There are more Donald Sterlings that exist in this world. And I like how Jay-Z eloquently put that. More of this interview that surfaced, and I think this is a real important thing to talk about, and I don't know if I have the right answer to this, so I'm just going to kind of leave it up for you guys to discuss in the comment section. It's a really good conversation, right? Van Jones, and salute to Van Jones, really good interview for the time that you had. I know you didn't have a lot of time, but it was a really good interview. For Van Jones asked Jay this: Trump is going to say terrible things, but put money in black people's pockets, meaning the economy technically is up, black employment rate is down, unemployment rate is down, right? So that's what Trump's premise is, and we'll get to what Trump said in a second. And Van said, do you think it's okay to pretty much treat people like crap, but pay them well? You know, as long as the economy is in the right direction. You have these terrible things you say. You call African countries shitholes. You want to get rid of certain people, and even though we're in the land of the free, and this is kind of how we built this country, if you don't know. Jay responded with, no, it's not okay, because it's not about money at the end of the day. Money does not equate to happiness. It doesn't. That's missing the whole point. You treat people like human beings. That's the main point. It goes back to the whole thing. Treat me really bad and pay me well. It's not going to lead to happiness. It's going to lead to, again, the same thing. Everyone's going to be sick. And I'll end quote there from Jay, just to tell y'all a quick story. You know, I worked at Nike, right? When I was in Memphis, and when I lived in my hometown of Memphis, I worked at Nike like pretty much everyone else did at some point in their life. And when Nike or FedEx, right? And when I worked for this temp service for Nike, you know, we used to do, and they still do these shifts to this day. It was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday shift, right? And if you don't go out a lot in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to stack some bread, that sounds dope. I work 3 days and I get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off. So if I want to go out, you know what I mean? Sunday night, I can still hit a club after work. I ain't got to work Monday. I'm good. I can sleep in all Monday. In theory, it sounds good. The pay was pretty decent. You know what I mean? 12-hour shifts though. 12-hour shifts. And at one point while I was there, and I was only there a few months, the summer before I went to college. At one point, you know, the employees started getting frustrated. We had a bad stretch, right? And people just unmotivated to work. And don't let these companies fool you. They can't just do a whole, they just can't get rid of everybody. They can't do a whole shift firing, right? They need workers. You can't afford to lose those 2 days. They'd rather put up with slacking employees for a day or two until they can, or a week or two until they can figure something out, instead of the whole shift just saying, yo, we quit. Everybody just walking out the door. They can't do that. Can't miss 2 weeks of work, especially with a company like Nike. And, you know, everybody was pretty unhappy. And you think in the grand scheme of things, you telling people you only got to work 3 days a week. You know, it's 12-hour shifts, but again, you got 4 days to yourself. You know, typically most people in this country work Monday through Friday, and now we're starting to even change that narrative. Most people work Monday through Friday, have a business, a second form of income, or a lot of people do rather, and they're working on the weekends now. People just getting after it, you know? And the point I'm trying to make is to kind of piggyback off what Jay-Z is saying, you had people who in theory had a job that would make them moderately happy, but the job was terrible, right? And I'm not knocking anybody who has that job. Do what you got to do to get on your feet, then get out. You know what I mean? The job was terrible. It's a terrible job. And I'm not to say that things won't happen to me where I have to end back there one day. But it was a terrible job, and the same narrative of you can't pay people well and treat them like crap. That job treats you like crap. You make these shoes. You're sweating and making these shoes, and these shoes get sold on the market for hundreds of dollars. And you're a little piece, a very small piece to a big puzzle. But we need those jobs for this country to run. So I get what Jay-Z is saying wholeheartedly. Now, here's the irony. Jay-Z brought up the comments about, no, it doesn't, just because you're putting more money in people's pockets, that doesn't make people happy. That's not right. That doesn't mean, that's not happiness, right? Donald Trump ended up, Van is so dope for asking Jay-Z that question, because Donald Trump literally got on Twitter and reiterated his point, right? Donald Trump hopped on Twitter after this interview, and Jay talked on, he didn't watch the interview. Somebody told him something about it. Donald Trump hopped on Twitter and said, look, somebody please inform Jay-Z that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded, right? Our economy is better than it's ever been in many decades. Businesses are coming back to America like never before. Chrysler, as an example, is leaving Mexico and coming back to the USA. Unemployment is nearing record lows. We on the right track. See, again, the irony is he said that after the interview, and Jay just addressed that in the interview previously, right? You know, I think Donald Trump is, like Jay said, is missing a point. It's not always about money, but you got a country that we're all about money, and happiness has to have some sort of impact, right? Or some sort of, it has to be some big piece to this puzzle, right? You keep making this country all about money, and again, reiterating what Hov said, everyone's going to be sick. You got a lot of people who are going to be so invested in making money, they'll do anything. They'll stab their homie in the back. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to head to. And you got people who are going to leave their families, and that's where we're heading right now, because we've been told you need money to survive. You need money to drink good water. You know what I mean? And this is just a real interview. This is you know, a real video. This is raw as it gets. And Donald Trump missed the point again. And I pose this question to you guys because I don't know the answer to this. Does money equate happiness for you? I'm asking. I'm just asking. I don't know with me. I don't know. Because money can help me with healthcare. Money can help me pay my bills, which relieves stress, which the less stress you would believe maybe creates happiness. So I'm just saying that money's a part of it. It's better for Jay to come from a rich perspective than it is for somebody like me. I'm coming from a place of I don't have money like that. You know what I mean? So I think this is a very real conversation to have. Donald Trump, maybe he's a career businessman, you know? Maybe he is fixing unemployment rate. I'm not going to argue that. Maybe he is making more jobs for African Americans. But does he not understand how low morale is around this president? Does he not understand how people feel about his presidency, how people are hating each other, the riots that are happening in the streets, the hate that he brought back to the forefront? It's real, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he understands that concept of money can't be the be all end all. If you want happy workers, happy Americans, that can't be the end all be all. That's just my opinion. I would love to know your opinion in the comment section. We complain and complain and complain. We wanted a president that would make more jobs for us. Looks like we might have one actually, but he's a terrible human being. There's no other way to flip it. I believe he's a terrible human being. And how do you somebody who's a career businessman who can figure it out? Numbers. Y'all know that's one thing Donald Trump couldn't live with. If he ruined this economy. Because that's the one thing that he's supposed to be the quote unquote expert at. Right? Money. So morale is lower than it's ever been. People, I mean, I've never seen a lower, I don't think there's been a lower confidence level in the president at this point, right? Am I wrong about that? His confidence level or trust, his trust level and rate is lower than it's ever been at this point in the game, right? For a president that's been in office for about a year now. So again, talk to me in the comment box below. I would love to know your opinions. I'm in the comment section. I'm going to be responding to some people. Please, this is a good conversation to have. Thank y'all for the time, love, support. And I can switch it up and do these videos. And I enjoy doing these videos much more than other stuff. It means something to people. Y'all talk to me. I'm out.
I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now, you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty.